In the first lab, a lady came to teach us about nutrition. It was really interesting because we learned a lot about carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and many other things that we have in our body that increase our body fat or muscles. It all depends on what you eat. It was really educational.
The second lab we did was the one of the microscope. In this lab, we learned the parts of the microscope and the use of this object that is for examining small or thinly sliced sections of tissues. In this lab, we use our own saliva and a plant cell, and we can see in the two pictures small cells, and in the saliva is it's just like small parts but are divided, and in the plant are all connected. Lab 3 are vital signs. We learned that are used to measure the body's basic functions. These measurements are taken to help give clues to possible diseases and show progress toward recovery. The normal ranges for a person's vital signs vary with age, weight, gender, and overall health. There are four main vital signs: body temperature, blood pressure, pulse, and breathing rate.
In our lab about CPR, we learned about doctor's ABC, which is a technique used to recognize and remember with each letter what to do in case of an emergency when somebody's throat closes. And we learned that D stands for danger, R for response, S for send help, A airway, B for breathing, C for CPR, and D for defibrillation. We learned how to do CPR on both an adult sized person and a baby with breathing and just with contractions. In the lab we did about bandages, we learned how to put medium-sized and large bandages around our head, wrist, ankle, and our back in case a clavicle breaks. We learned how to put the bandages on properly in case a ligament or bone is sprained or fractured.
In this lab about injections, we learned on how to apply them on other people. First, we did it with oranges to practice, and then we tried it with our classmates. It was really fun, and it helped us learn how to do this in case one day we need to do it to ourselves or to another person.
In our lab about alcoholic stimulators, there are different activities that we did which represented being drunk. They showed us this by putting on goggles and trying to walk on a straight line, or putting on the same goggles and opening a door with a key, kicking a ball as well with these goggles, and even driving a car set to what it would be like to be drunk depending on how much and what you drank. And we learned that once we are in that state, we don't realize how dangerous it can be.
The lab about reliable resources was very helpful to us since it taught us how to use them correctly. This is one example of Mayo Clinic, and we looked up an article about something related to the class, and it had a lot of information and even extra information and extra authors we could look in case we needed more information.
In the heart lab, the teacher gave us the opportunity to open up a pig's heart, which was very amazing because we were able to see the different muscles and different parts of the heart in a live view and understand in a better way the different parts of the heart. In the first sutures lab, we were able to suture a thin piece of meat that the teacher brought us. In this lab, it was more about learning the technique of suturing than learning how it would feel like to suture a human skin. It was very hard at first, but after a while, we were able to understand that different techniques we have to use to suture a person. In the second lab of suturing, we were able to suture a pig's feet. This time it was harder than the first lab of suturing because the skin is harder and it's not easy to suture it. So now, knowing the technique from the first lab, this time it was to understand sort of how it feels like to suture a person's skin.